Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to HDI's Customer Service Week webinar series. Today's HDI webcast is Superpowers of the Everyday Hero with Rae Ann Bruno. It's going to be a spectacular customer service week. Today's webinar is sponsored by CA Technologies, and we'll be hearing from CA in a little bit. First, we'd like to get some logistics out of the way for you. If you experience any difficulty with the webinar itself, you can get help by clicking the green question mark at the bottom of your screen. We will not have a Q&A session today, but if you were to use the Q&A button, you can submit questions and we'll respond later. At this time, we recommend that you disable your pop-up blockers. To chat with others who are attending today, click on the group chat button at the bottom right of your screen. We love having you exchange ideas during the webinar. The slides will advance automatically throughout the event, and you may download a copy of the slides by clicking the Download Slide button located below the presentation window. If you're experiencing any technical problems, please visit our help guide by clicking on the help link below the media player. In addition, you can contact our technical support helpline, which is also located in the webcast help guide. Remember that today's webinar will be available on demand after about 24 hours, and you'll receive an email reminder to let you know that it's available. You can stay in touch with HDI on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on HDIConnect.com, where you can read a blog, ask a question, or find a solution. With us today to tell us more about our sponsor is Jim Blaney, and Jim is Senior Principal Product Marketing Manager for ITSM Solutions at CA Technologies. In his current role, he oversees and drives the creation of marketing collateral and sales enablement tools at CA. Jim has over 16 years of software industry experience and has held senior-level positions in both product marketing and product management. Most recently as Director of Product Marketing with Heat Software. Jim was responsible for the successful global launch of Heat Software's hybrid IT service management solutions and for cloud-based customers. Jim has held senior-level product management and technical positions with Front Range Solutions and Goldmine, both predecessors of Heat Software. So lots of experience. Good morning, Jim, and why don't you take it away?
Hey, thanks, Roy, and thank you to HDI for giving us an opportunity to talk about CA Service Management and how it can help customers drive more business value and, in the end, make you an ITSM hero. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the current state of ITSM. And some would say that service management solutions are commoditized, especially when it comes to basic functionality, specifically around service desk, asset management, and to some extent that's probably true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that vendors are doing the same thing, nor does it mean that organizations are able to use those solutions to mature their ITSM practice. So what I'd like to do is focus on our clear differentiators that'll help you drive more business value. And by that, I mean improving user satisfaction, increasing productivity, lowering costs, and making better decisions, and in the end, reducing business risk. So with that, let's take a look at CA Service Management. CA Service Management is a unified solution, and in that, it's a solution that's been built with a key focus on the user experience and really to help drive user adoption, engagement, and get the most value out of the solution. And what's key here are its user-facing features. And what I mean by that, that they're highly intuitive and they present information in a straightforward, non-technical way to really help promote a higher level of user engagement, encourage consumption of services, and ultimately create a more satisfying user experience. And all, CA Service Management delivers a more holistic experience for the users interacting with the system. So let's take a closer look at some of the key stakeholders and who they are and how they would typically interact with the solution and get the business value that they're looking for. So first, there's the business consumer. For the most part, these folks are the employees of the company, and they want to be empowered and self-sufficient. They don't like to wait for anything. And from a self-service perspective, they expect features and functions to be similar to how they experience, the way that they experience their interactions with devices and services outside the workplace. They're looking for more of a consumer-like interface that's social and collaborative in nature. They don't want to go searching around for things, and they want access whenever and wherever. In other words, they want access on their mobile device. Then let's talk about the power users. Yes, they want to be self-sufficient, but power users are also interested in productivity. The more automation in the system, the better. They expect the underlying systems and technologies to be deeply integrated so they don't have to search for information between disparate systems. And lastly, we need to talk about the decision makers. The decision makers' key goal is to deliver improved business value of IT. That means they need access to cost, consumption metrics associated with services, and of course, they're also concerned with minimizing risks associated with changes to the infrastructure, as well as limiting direct financial risks associated with IT assets or software licenses. So, in the end, CA Service Management not only meets the needs of each one of these key stakeholders and users, but also delivers business value by improving customer satisfaction through consumer-like and more collaborative experiences, increasing productivity through automated processes, and reducing costs, through fewer service disruptions, being able to manage assets and reducing risk, as well as automating change control and understanding and looking at better software compliance. So all those things combined demonstrate and prove more business value for those stakeholders. Okay, so as I mentioned, CA Service Management provides a more holistic experience for the user, but it's also a proven and complete solution. It encompasses all things service desk, but it also includes key and necessary capabilities around asset management, service catalog, request management, all to deliver a complete and unified solution. So when we look at this slide, you can see how each of the functional areas in dark blue are all in place to provide for a better end user satisfaction experience, all really to help minimize risk. Or as we look to the far right, they work together to provide organizations with the capabilities they need to improve productivity and manage costs. Each of these capabilities in blue are important unto themselves, but when integrated with each other, they provide an exponential value to the business. All right. So one of the key areas I wanted to focus on and really tell you about was our unified self-service solution. Yes, many organizations are using something today, but the reality is we know that user adoption is typically low. And the question is why? And is it costing the business more by not having a fully functional and adopted self-service solution? So CA's unified self-service solution provides a common self-service user experience for all the stakeholders and users. It provides a modern, contemporary look and feel that users will clearly recognize and already be familiar with. It allows users to interact, ask questions, search for knowledge, collaborate, chat with the service desk, all that from a single interface. And this can be done either from the desktop, via web interface, or even mobile device. So CA Unified Self-Service comes with out-of-the-box quick value content to get you up and running quickly as possible. So you don't have to spend the time thinking about the what or the how. It's already done for you. And in the end, we've delivered a unified self-service solution to not only help drive user satisfaction and productivity, but also eliminate those mundane, repetitive calls from ever making it to the service desk, wasting valuable time, money, and resources. So, the last thing I wanted to leave you with was that CA Service Management has been helping thousands of organizations achieve and mature their ITSM practice and demonstrate real business value over the years. These are just a few of our customers from around the world who are realizing the benefit with our proven, robust service management solution. And you know what? We'd like you to join that community as well. With all that, I'd like to say thank you to HDI for the opportunity to talk a little bit about CA Service Management. And I wish you all a great rest of your day. Roy, back to you.
Thank you very much, Jim, and thanks to CA for sponsoring the webcast. We really appreciate it. It really helps us present quality programming to our members in our community. Rae Ann Bruno is the president of Business Solutions Training Incorporated, a firm focused on experiential training for process improvement, business-aligned leadership, and team development. Rae Ann is known for her interactive information-packed training courses and her ability to tailor information to her participants so they can apply it in their respective roles. She has trained all levels of employees in areas of communications, high-performance teaming, DISC profile, and leadership skill building with special emphasis on information technology. Rae Ann has over 15 years of management experience with an emphasis on process reengineering, employee development, and process alignment of IT services. And having said all of that, Rae Ann is especially well known to ACI audience from her roles as an instructor and a conference speaker, and is a very popular person with us. So thanks for being with us today, Rae Ann. It's all yours.
Well, thank you, Roy, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. I'm talking about the superpowers of the everyday hero, and many of you are those everyday heroes, or you're working with the everyday heroes, or you're leading those everyday heroes. So you all know how it is. Every day, these heroes are dealing with different customer emotions. Somebody may be angry or totally stressed out, or maybe we're even dealing with impact on the business. Maybe someone can't carry out their business task, or it could potentially impact revenue. There are many of you who have different types of companies. Maybe it's higher ed, and it is an instructor in a room where people are taking a class and their technology is not working. If you're in healthcare, it could be patient-facing. And that's what these everyday heroes face every day. What makes them everyday heroes is when they use those superpowers. And those superpowers are how they're handling each of these situations. Everyday heroes are people who can stay calm, even when no one is calm around them, even in the midst of chaos. They also have a very calming effect on others. I was working with an organization recently, and there was a customer comment that had been made. Actually, someone had sent a message. It was from a hospital, and she had sent a message on behalf of one of the volunteers. And she said that the volunteer had been very, very angry, waiting quite a while before the call was answered, and was ready to, in his words, pretty much unload on whoever answered. And he said he was so happy that the person who took the call did, because she was very quickly able to get him out of that mode. He was no longer frustrated. He said she was patient, she was kind, she was attentive, and because of those superpowers, she was able to diffuse his anger, much to his own surprise. And so much so that he went and told this person about it, who took it upon herself to send that message to that person's leaders. So one of the things that I wanted to just mention is your everyday heroes are these people who are interested in helping. They're in this job because they like to fix things, because they like to help people, and they take that responsibility very seriously. They also believe that everybody deserves great service, and they make sure that each and every call that they get, or each and every interaction with a user or with a customer, is the best that they can deliver. And that's one thing that's very difficult in this role, is you're just getting call after call, or you're going desk side after one desk side visit and another desk side visit, and it feels like it's the same thing over and over again. And we all know that people aren't calling to say, hey, thank you, I love you. They're calling with an issue, with a problem. So a lot of this is negative. Yet our everyday heroes, they treat each and every interaction, even if it's number 21 for the day, like it's the first. They make everybody matter. And their skills grow with experience. And I don't know if you've heard that commercial by Walgreens, but they talk about getting you to the corner of happy and healthy. Well, our everyday heroes get their customers to the corner of happy and productive. And that's what they do each and every time. And they use these superpowers to do this. Well, one of the things that I've noticed in our industry is we don't always recognize what it takes to do this job. And it's important to recognize that this job is not easy. Not just anybody can do this. There are people that shouldn't be in a customer-facing role, and we as consumers have probably seen that many times in our lifetime. Everyday heroes master their skills. They wow their customers on a regular basis, and they're able to go beyond what someone is saying. They are able to truly understand what the situation is and what the real needs are, even if that customer can't articulate that themselves. And honestly, what they've done is they've learned to use techniques. They've learned not to take this personally. They've learned what to say, how to handle a situation, how to really listen to see what is most important to the people that they're interacting with. However, what I've seen, too, is that not all of these everyday heroes recognize how valuable their skills are, nor do they recognize how important it is to use these skills and what it actually accomplishes. Some of them view this as a foot in the door in a company, or this is a job I'm going to have until I get a better job. And they look at this as an entry-level position. But I've got to tell you, when I'm hiring or if I want people to work on my service desk, I do not view it as an entry-level position. People in these roles, whether they're going desk side or they're on the phones, any kind of customer service job, they are the face, the voice, the reputation, not only of IT, but also of the company. So we don't want just anyone in these roles. So it's important to keep in mind that the way you make your customers feel really matters. I'm going to show you some statistics in a moment that show you that it matters more than your technical expertise. And remember that your job does not define you. You define your job. And the work that you do, it actually creates this brand, and not just for you as an individual. And let me talk about that for a moment. I think each and every one of us knows someone who was able to get an opportunity either in their careers or with your own companies because of their customer service skills. They may have had no experience for this new role. However, because of how they handle people, because of these relationships that they build, because of these customer service skills that they have, they were given an opportunity that they may not have been able to have otherwise. So it's important to recognize that you're creating a brand for yourself as an individual, but not only that, you're creating a brand for your entire team, for all of support, for all of IT, and even for your company. People do have a choice, even if you're providing internal support. We have a choice as to whether we're going to call that service desk or whether or not we're going to bypass the process. And desktop professionals, they know that sometimes when they choose to bypass the service desk, they come straight over to a desktop professional and do a shoulder tap outside of the ticket, outside of the process. So the way we make people feel is really important. And the way we make them feel and these skills that we use to help them in a situation where they need to have this help really does matter. So there's value in these skills, and they're transferable into so many different opportunities. We'll see that these skills, they're important for leadership. They're important for being a relationship manager or just so many other jobs that are out there and opportunities. And I don't want to make you feel like this is not the job. This is a great job. And like I mentioned, not everybody can do this. So service is a differentiator for any company, and it does mold perspectives. And mastering the art of customer service, although it is not easy, when you do it, amazing things can happen. So to show that it's really important how we make people feel, here is a statistic that we use in the HDI Support Center Analyst class. And it's talking about why organizations lost customers. And look at that number. 68% of the organizations have lost customers due to perceived indifference by the service provider. If you ever feel, if you're an internal support team and you feel like you're not really impacting what the business does in its industry, you're wrong, because you're servicing people who are servicing external customers. And if 68% of people left because of perceived indifference, you are helping those people to have a loyalty to your organization. Surprisingly, only 14% of them left because of product dissatisfaction and 14% due to competition. Those of you who must have your full 100%, you can read the last line on your own. But I want to share a little story. My mother was just visiting me from Ohio. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And I asked her if she had ever gone to a Firehouse Subs, which happens to be one of my favorites. And she said, no, we don't have those. I said, well, let's go to one. And I was literally right around the corner from one. It would have taken me exactly 60 seconds to get there. However, I said to her, let's go ahead to the one on the next exit up. We're going to be there anyway, and I've got to tell you, they are just so great there. They just make you feel really important. I said, they have great customer service skills. So do you mind if we wait a little while before we go? She said, no, not at all. It's the same company. It's the same product, but I made a choice, and I drove 12 minutes longer, which might not be a big deal, but I could have gone right around the corner. But I went to the other location because of their customer service skills. And immediately, they did not let me down. When we walked in, they welcomed us, and they make us feel like it matters that we're there. They did use their great customer service skills, and certainly my mother was impressed by it as well. Another statistic to further prove this is that 75% of a customer satisfaction is based on how we make them feel. That's what we mean by psychological needs. I've learned that there's a lot of pride in our industry. People take great pride in being able to fix things and having high technical expertise and being able to solve the most complex problems. However, that's only 25% of your customer satisfaction. It's about how we make them feel. They expect us to have some level of technical expertise. However, when we really connect with them and we make them feel like they're very important, that's what matters most. So let's talk about those superpowers. Let's look at what it takes to make customers feel that way. First, we need to understand what their needs are. So they want to be respected. And I was talking to somebody who does the quality at a company, and he was making a comment, and he said that he noticed in his quality monitoring that one of his superstars, Bill, he said, I learned what people want based on watching these superstars. He says, what I've noticed is they want to be heard, and I would put in parentheses, understood, and they want to be right. He said, in listening to Bill, he said, no matter what the situation is, even if the customer is blatantly wrong, he never makes them feel like they're wrong. He said, and people love him. So they want someone who is really listening to them, who makes it their job to help them, who cares. They have the proper sense of urgency. They handle the situation with tact and diplomacy, and they also handle it with a balance. They're doing what's best for the organization and following policy, and yet still understanding what the customer needs and getting them back to work, one way or the other, even if it's with a workaround. So they care that you want to help them, and they want you also to understand what they mean, even if they don't know how to articulate that, even if they don't use the right words, and you're not upset about them not using the right words. They'd like you to help them to do their jobs more quickly, more easily, meet deadlines, really understand, and really care. So I want to share a story from someone in class once. He was supporting a retail chain, and he said he was talking about one of the knowledge articles that they had. And he said that the article talked about pushing a button under the counter, and it talked about where it was. And he said, I would follow that knowledge article word for word. He said, and still people would not understand what I'm saying, and they would get frustrated. He said, so one day I was shopping at one of our stores. I was a customer, and I said, hey, listen, would you mind, could I come around the counter for a moment? I just want to look at something. I provide support, and I don't know, whatever I'm saying, it just doesn't make sense to them. So I just like to look at this little button under there. And the person said, sure, you can come over, but I don't know what you're talking about. And he looks under there, and he said, first of all, it wasn't where the knowledge article said that it was. And secondly, it was not a button, it was a switch. So not only did he learn something, not only did he take that time to learn about it and have the initiative to want to understand it, but he went back to work and he updated the article. So this isn't just about powers of individuals. This is about individuals as teams. And they care enough about the people that they work with, work for, that they're supporting, that they share that knowledge and they help the team to be better. They want to be better. They want that team to be better. And when you have that team of heroes, I'm sure everybody knows what the results are like. That department gets hero status. People love to interact with that department, and they have favorable things to say about them all the time. I want to share this quote from the CEO from Amazon. First of all, I'm a real geek when it comes to Amazon support. I have to say I would love to spend one day there. I just want to see what happens when a chat comes in, and how do you know that someone said, I want you to call me now, and what happens on your side? Does it ring in your ear? How do you see all of that so quickly? There's just so many things I want to know. But I have to tell you, I love it because they always make me feel like I matter. They're efficient, they're accurate, they're personable. They show that they really want to help. Not that I need to have their support that often, but when I do, it's always a really good experience. So this quote doesn't surprise me at all. It says that we're seeing our customers as invited guests to a party. I think that's a really important point right from the beginning, because some people hate when somebody calls. If it's not someone that loves this job, they find the interaction with the customer as an irritant. Really? They're calling me about that? Why would they call me about something so simple? But what this is saying is they're invited guests to a party. We want those calls. We want those interactions. We want those questions, no matter what they might be. We are the hosts. And it's our job every day to make every important aspect of the customer experience a little bit better. This even goes beyond skills. Can we find a better way? Can we share the knowledge so that all of us can do this more quickly? Can we find that answer somewhere in IT? And can we do this at that first level? Can we tweak a process? Can we fix a service? Is there something we can do to make it better? This is what everyday heroes do. So let's talk about these skills. I've already mentioned that we as consumers are interacting with people all the time, and there are a lot of different levels of skills. There are people who you remember, either because it was a bad experience or because it was a really great experience. And there are people who did their jobs, but you don't necessarily remember their faces or their names. So I believe that there's this level of skills that you progress through. And at the basic level, they do their jobs. They acknowledge you. They show a willingness to help. They're polite. They don't make you feel like you're a number or next. And they really do offer to assist. However, they don't necessarily go beyond that. They don't take the extra step or even make small talk or interact that much. They do their jobs, and that is good enough. However, when they get to that next level, they start applying these skills a lot differently. They go beyond just the facts. They are really listening to you. They're not forcing you to use the right words or expecting you to be able to articulate this in the right way. They can help. They listen to you. They ask questions. They show empathy. They really understand, and they take ownership. And if they don't know how to fix it, they know when to get someone else involved, and it's sincere. So I want to share another story. I love large hazelnut iced coffees from McDonald's. However, I always order light syrup because I don't want a lot of that sweet syrup in it. Well, one day I went through my usual McDonald's, through the drive-thru, like I always do, and I ordered it. I started to pull away, took a drink, and I was like, whoa. It was not light syrup. So I went ahead and I parked and I went in. And if you can just envision this, as I walk in, there are 3 people standing there at the registers. Closest to me is one person, and then the person I'm talking about is the next register over to my left, so a little bit further from me. So I walk in, walking right toward that first person, and I said, hey, I just ordered this through the drive-thru, and I ordered light syrup, and this is not light syrup. The girl just looked at me and wasn't really sure what to do. Well, the girl from the second register came up. She said, oh, ma'am, I am sorry. Her hand is out. She said, let me take that. She said, I'll make you a new one, okay? She said, when you say light syrup, do you know how many pumps that is? I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't. She said, oh, no, that's okay. She said, well, normally we put 5 pumps in. And I can't remember really if it's 5 or 7. But anyway, she said, we put 5 pumps in. So how about if I make this for you? And I'll start with 2 pumps. I don't think that will be enough, but I'm going to let you taste it. If it's not, then we'll go ahead and add a 3rd pump. All the while, she is making my coffee. She hands it to me and she says, here, go ahead and try that. I'm like, oh, you're right. I think I do want 1 more pump. She goes, okay, puts it in, stirs it up, gives it back to me. She said, okay, so now we know the way you like it is with 3 pumps. So if you just tell them I just want 3 pumps of syrup, she said, then every time we're going to make it just the way you like it. Wow, at McDonald's. Not to be disparaging, but sometimes we don't expect them to go above and beyond. And she taught me something without making me feel stupid. And she did it in a way, and she stayed efficient. She kept working the whole time she talked with me. And she used great inflection, and she really showed that she wanted to help me out. And she did help me so that now I can order it just the way I like it every time. So she also helped her team. She also helped her company because they're not going to throw away these coffees because it's not quite what I ordered. Well, there's still another level. You can take it up, and I don't really know whether I should have put her in that level or here at this great level where they're really advanced in their skills, meaning that they're truly interacting. They're truly engaging. They are thinking on their feet. They're really helpful. They've got these great interpersonal skills. If they tell you they're going to do something, they do, and they have very strong emotional intelligence. By definition, emotional intelligence has 3 key elements. One is having an awareness and the ability to manage your own emotions, having an awareness and the ability to manage others' emotions, and then making these sincere connections. And that's what people at this level do. They're great. And they are affecting not only their own reputation, but the reputation of the organization as a whole and of your team. And even if you're dealing with internal customers, again, you're helping those who are helping your external customers. So you're helping them to be happier in their jobs. And obviously, if they're happy, they're going to provide a better service for your external customers. And I want to share another story. I was talking, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I've had a rude awakening. I have 2 teenage boys that are of driving age, and wow, is that a big difference on my insurance? So I was talking to the person with my insurance company, and I made some comment about, you're supposed to be one of the best priced insurance companies. I am not feeling that way. I said it kind of nicely, but the way the guy fielded my comments and my questions, he was incredible. He was very diplomatic. He supported what the organization does. However, he still supported the fact that I am this valued customer. And he even went back and forth with me. What I mean by that, I've noticed sometimes that when I ask a question or I take something out of sequence, some people will say, okay, ma'am, I'll get to that screen in just a moment. And they let me know that it's not time for that. Just let me finish what you already asked. He was fluid with that. He said, oh, okay, let me take a look at that. All right, he'd answer my question, and then he'd go back to where he was, and he never made me feel like I took him out of sequence. Well, I made a comment finally, because if you've ever heard me speak before, I always talk about the fact that I'm a pretty tough customer, but I don't think my expectations are out of line. I expect you to have a willingness to help, and I absolutely notice and commend great customer service skills. So I said to him, wow, I said, you have all the right answers. I said, you do this really well. And you could hear the smile in his voice, and he said, well, I've been working in customer service for a long time. He said, I've had quite a few jobs in customer service. And he showed that pride. He was really proud of it. So he, I would think, was even at that level of being an everyday hero. When you have that everyday hero status, these are the people that go that extra mile. They are fully engaged. They have mastered techniques to be able to diffuse negative behavior. They don't take it personally. They're amazing to watch and interact with, because they never get shook up by what somebody says. They always handle it in a really positive, professional, diplomatic way. And they communicate in a way that customers can truly understand them. They have strong relationships, not only with the people that they support, but with everybody in the company, with all of IT. These are the people that people love to help, or love to work with, or love to have help them. So they positively impact people's feelings, and they make the experience great. So I want to share 2 quick examples. One, I was on a shuttle at an airport, and they have a sister company that is at a different location and run independently. And there was somebody waiting for that company, and she was standing there. It was at night, and I was on the shuttle, and he said, excuse me one moment. He walked out of the shuttle, and he went over to her. He said, hey, are you with? And he asked if they were with Park and Fly Plus. And he said, well, may I see your ticket? He said, let me find out where they are and how soon they'll be here. And so he took her ticket. He made the call. He found out where they were, and then he told her they're going to be here within 8 minutes. They're on their way right now. He could have just told her to call. But no, he got out of the shuttle. He was very nice and asked me if I minded, and he made that call for her. So he earned this customer that will be loyal to that company, because even though he didn't have to do that, he went above and beyond. And then the one that really tugs at the heartstrings is one that a manager shared in manager class. And we were talking about statistics and how we have these metrics and we have these goals for our professionals to meet on a regular basis. However, recognizing that there's a balance to that we don't want our teams to be so fixated on the numbers that they're not really engaged with this customer. So he shared a story. They were a healthcare company, and he said, and they had made some changes to the plan. And a mother had called, and this person got the mother, and she was in tears. She had a son who had been sick for a very long time and had the same doctors for 7 years. He had a disease, and these were doctors that he had grown to trust. He was still very young. They were like family to him. They were no longer on the plan. She's devastated. She's in tears. And the guy said, ma'am, I'll tell you what. He said, do you have access to your email right now? And she said, I do. He said, okay, I'm going to send you a form. He said, there is a way that you can request to get those doctors added to your plan. So let's try to do that. He said, and it'll be okay. He says, we'll still take care of your son. He will have his same doctors. He said, so I'm sending it to you right now, and I'm going to wait on the phone with you, and I will walk you through these forms and tell you how to submit them. It takes about 7 to 10 days. He said, but we should be able to get them added to your plan. Do you have the time to do that right now? And the manager said, he blew all the numbers out of the water. He said he was on the phone for about 45 minutes. We want them to be on the phone for a maximum of about 8 minutes. He said, but you know what? I don't care. He said what he did was amazing. He really showed that he cared. He made a difference in that person's life, and she is going to be loyal to our company. He said, but he did the right thing. That's what really matters to me. He said, and it all balances out somewhere. For that 45-minute call that he had, he may have had a lot of 4-minute calls or 2-minute calls. So somewhere it made up. He said, but he did the right thing. And that is what everyday heroes do. It's not just a job to them. It's not just a paycheck. It's not just a foot in the door and a way to get to the next job. They're doing it because they love it. They're doing it because they want to help people. Doing it because they want to make a difference, and that is satisfying. I don't know how many people I've had in class that said, when I get this positive comment, when somebody tells my manager, when someone says, wow, thank you, I could not have done this without you. They said, that makes my day. That is gratifying to them, and that's enough. And it goes beyond a paycheck. And their superpowers are that they really, really care. They're going to make a difference. And they're going to balance what's right, what's policy, what's procedure, with what their customers need to have. They're hearing beyond those words. They're consistently getting them to that corner of happy and productive. They're making sincere connections. They're building relationships on a regular basis. So for all of you who sometimes feel like you don't know if you can take another call or you can handle this for one more day, I have some inspiring superhero quotes for you that I think is what you represent every single day. That you do have the courage to put on the cape and make a difference. And you care. It shows. And it might be messy, and it might be chaotic, and it might be hectic, and it might be tough. But still, you do it, and you get better and better, and you love it, and you make people's days over and over again. And I love the one in the bottom right. It says, anyone can slay a dragon, she told me. But try waking up every morning and loving the world all over again. That's what takes a real hero. So what you do isn't easy. I commend you for what you do every day. But know that it does make a difference for your customers, for you, for your team, for IT, for your entire company. And even when you feel tired and you feel a little worn out and you feel a little burned out, know that that superhero is still inside of you. So I want to finish with a story from the person who won the Support Center Analyst of the Year a few years ago. He was out in New York. And he went up there and he gave this really great speech. And he started it with this. He said, I've been doing this for a long time. He said, and I've always prided myself on how I do this job, on really caring and making a difference and having great skills and being somebody that customers talk about. But I'm going to admit to you, before being nominated this year, he said, I was feeling a little burned out. I was feeling a little worn out. He said, but this has restored my faith in myself, in my company, in this role, and I know that I'm making a difference, and this reminds me that it really matters. So I want to remind you that it really matters. And the value of what you do is, as MasterCard says, priceless. Thank you so much for being here today. And as Roy said, if you have any questions, we can answer them later. So my contact information is here, or you can contact HDI directly. And actually, I'll turn this over to Roy, and he'll tell you how you can do that.
Thanks so much, Rae Ann. What a great talk. I mean, let's face it, the people that we deal with every day in customer service that really knock our socks off are absolutely heroes. And it's just wonderful, wonderful to hear your stories and to and apply them to our own lives and to our own world of support. Thanks so much. Tomorrow, we'll be back right here, same time, same station, to hear about CEM meets ITSM. So that's customer experience we're going to talk about tomorrow with Julie Moore, who's also a wonderful speaker and very knowledgeable in this sphere. So come join us again tomorrow. Happy Customer Service Week to you all. And if you need to send us a message, pop over to support@thinkhdi.com and we'll field your questions, okay? Thank you so much for attending. We'll see you tomorrow. Happy Customer Service Week.